"Looks like trouble ahead," Jim said, pointing. Nasir leaned forward in the driver's seat and squinted through his red-rimmed glasses. The orange sun was setting in a clear, darkening sky over a flat, sandy plain. Only the occasional greenish tufts of grass and clusters of small rocks broke the desolate landscape to either side of the road. "I see nothing," Nasir said. "Wait. It's gone." Jim stroked his short stubble. Then he saw it again, a faint yellow light in the distance. There, in the middle of the road, could be bandits, or militia. Or Camel Boy, too far to tell. Nasir held the steering wheel with one hand and reached behind him with the other to grab the AK-47 on the back seat. He offered it to Jim, who shook his head. "Sorry, I don't touch those things anymore." Nasir shrugged, laid the AK on his lap with its curved magazine sticking outwards, and accelerated. He was chomping a ball of ghat, the stimulant plant that most men chewed all day in Somaliland. Beads of sweat dribbled down the sides of his wide forehead, over his high cheekbones, and gathered at the edges of his thin mustache. "Lock the doors," Jim said. "Head down and speed up, maybe an ambush." Nasir checked the central locks. "Do not worry about me, my friend. I've been under fire more times than I care to remember." They moved closer to the light as Nasir accelerated. Whatever it was ahead, it would soon be a pile of pulp if it just stayed there. But then it moved, straight towards them. Nasir shouted and slammed on the brakes, yanking the steering wheel to the right and skidding the car to a halt. Jim's head smashed against the dashboard. Pinpoints of light sparkled. More shouting. A door opening. He put his hands to his head and felt wetness. He shook his mind back to full consciousness. Everything was tinged dark red. "Jim, come, see." It was Nasir speaking. "There's a dying man in the road." There was a bright light in Jim's eyes. Nasir was shining a torch at him. "You okay?" Nasir said. "Here, come and see." Jim scanned the area around them. No sign of anyone and nowhere to hide, so probably not an ambush. He climbed down from the Land Rover, his heavy boots crushing pebbles and sand. He steadied himself on the bonnet and shivered in the cooler evening air after the scorching daytime heat. In the light of the headlamps he noticed a speckling of blood on his light gray shirt, as though someone had flicked red paint onto him. Unconcerned, he walked towards the sprawled shape in the middle of the road that Nasir was bending over. "What's happened?" Jim said. "A white man, in a bad state." Nasir was holding two torches. One of them must have been from the injured man. Jim knelt and placed his ear close to the man's mouth. "He's breathing," he said. He took a torch from Nasir's hand and shone it onto the man's body. The man looked mid-40s. His nose was smashed, with a shard of white bone sticking out. His eyes were puffed up, one of them shut. His cheeks were bruised, with a deep cut down the right one. His shirt was ripped to shreds, with large patches of blood covering a logo that Jim instantly recognized, the U and A of Universal Action over a small globe representing the world. His feet had no shoes, no socks, just a bleeding mass of flesh, as though he'd walked barefoot through shards of broken glass. "Not good," Jim said.